Isaac, let's get to the real question here. Which one of the new characters do you want to strangle the least? Welcome everyone to Cinema Regulars, the movie review show where we see so many movies in theaters that the employees know us by name and they don't ask us what movies we're seeing, they ask us how many. Now, first and foremost, a few announcements before we get going in here. First thing off the bat, we are officially starting our goal of trying to reach at the bare minimum of 500 subscribers for this channel. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing so, because after that we can start qualifying for monetization and start getting paid for these videos. And we will use that money almost exclusively to buy more movie tickets to make more videos. Second thing I wanted to touch on is that we finally figured out how the chapters work on YouTube. So now, starting as of now and backtracking, you will be able to skip ahead on the video to the movie that you want to watch, and even skip ahead just to the rankings if you really don't care about us yapping about it for a full 20 minutes first. So please consider doing both of those things. Today we're actually fresh out of a movie theater. We just got back like an hour ago from seeing 3 movies back to back to back, and then we also saw the mystery movie on Monday that we got to cover too. So today we'll be looking at Inside Out 2, The Watchers, Bad Boys Ride or Die, and then we'll be finishing up with The Bikeriders. We actually get to see that almost a whole week early.
Yeah. So without further ado, let's dive in to Inside Out 2. So joy, sadness, anger, fear, and disgust have been running a successful operation by all accounts. However, when anxiety shows up, they aren't sure how to feel. That's it. That's all it gives us.
That's it.
That's it. That's all it gives you.
Damn.
Doesn't even this thing right here proved my theory going into this movie that they didn't even need the other emotions they created for this. They just wanted to put anxiety in. Like,
All right.
they just wanted to make a movie about anxiety.
First off, the first movie was all right. Okay, that's the best I could say about it. It was just all right.
I really liked the first one. I thought it was really fun.
It was all right. I did not care for this sequel at all.
That's fair.
You know what? We'll start off with some positives here. You
Mhm.
know, because you don't want to be negative Nancy's the whole time. I mean, obviously the animation is competent. It's Pixar, so everything at the very least looks good.
Mhm.
I think the character designs, as far as like the emotion side, were pretty good. I think the designs of the characters reflected what emotions they were meant to represent fairly well. You know, like Envy had really big eyes, and like, you know,
Well, like
other
embarrassment
other
was like
example. Yeah.
embarrassment was like he was kind of big and rotund, and he was kind of wearing a hoodie so he could hide and stuff like that. He was
Yeah,
like
I think
kind of
they
that.
matched it up pretty good.
Yeah,
Uh,
anxiety. I think was like while I don't like. I think it was a good a representation of the character, like of the emotion. I think they did a good
Isaac,
job.
let's get to the real question here. Which one of the new characters do you want to strangle the least?
The least embarrassment.
Yeah, I would probably say him, just more because like his neck is gargantuan and it would be harder physically to do that.
True.
But not out of any pity or anything.
Yeah. It's yeah, no, this was if I have anything outside of like the obvious gripes that we were gonna have with this movie.
Yeah.
One thing I have to say is it was extremely fast.
Yeah, they moved through it like really quick and like it was kind of just like jumping ahead and all over the place. Like it was
Well, the
it
whole
seemed
movie
really
took place over
sporadic.
like 3 days.
Right. But I mean
Grant-
like even cuz they went inside the mind and all the whatever trip that they took through the brain sections and whatnot, like that all just went by like super fucking fast.
Yeah, like in the first one, they kind of sat in different sections of the brain.
Yeah.
Like, because in the first one, you had long term memory, and then you had like the abstract area, and then they had imagination land and stuff like that. Like that was all right, but like, see, here's the thing. The thing with my problem with this. Well, okay, hold on. Let me get on my positives real quick. I think I think the message they were trying to get across here is a decent one for kids to learn. You know, you are you are in control of you. Your emotions don't control you, kind of thing. And also,
But
this
that's the
movie
whole
isn't.
the whole movie was the emotions controlling her.
Well,
That's the
yes,
exact
but
premise.
like at the end of the movie,
That's
like
actually like the fundamental thing I don't like about this series is that it's portraying as emotions being in near total control over the person, and
well, th-
it's like you have next to no autonomy over yourself.
well, that's why. Again, I think that's what they're going for here because, like, right at the end, they were talking about like they were all struggling over who Riley is. Like who is she really kind of thing. And like the whole point of it is that in the end they don't get to decide who Riley is, who she is. She decides is that whole ending scene. That's what the point of it is. Like yes, her emotions can guide her, but it is her who is the one making the decisions. That
Okay,
is
and here's the main problem with that though, of what you said. Um, Children, who this movie is directed towards mainly, and who the audience mainly is, are not gonna get that at all. They're just gonna see the
yeah.
colorful characters on scene, and they're not gonna be able to be like a
Well, this
metaphor, like your emotions don't control you. And then the other half of that is that it's focused around a teenager who is
Mhm.
developing into puberty and like beginning to get more complex emotions and more complex understanding of self, which that demographic of people, the teenagers, the the young adult kind of people who would relate to that most, are not the kind of people who would be seeing Inside Out 2 on a Friday night.
Okay. So I see your point in that, but this movie so while this movie is targeted towards children and everything like that, and the plot is very about a teenager, this movie is really, honestly, in my opinion, meant the the demographic Disney is aiming at, while also saying that they're aiming it at children, because that's going to be the driving force behind it, because pretty colors or whatever, is like the adults that have no idea what the hell they're doing with their life. Those people that let anxiety rule them. So basically, everyone, uh, like, this movie is just because they make anxiety be the crux of the movie. Like she takes over almost instantly. And, like she
Yeah.
pushes joy out a lot, and there's even the whole point. Like they literally say it in the movie. 'Cause I'm like, this isn't a line that kids are really gonna understand, at least not the kids that were in the theater we were,
No,
is
and
the
they
part
do
where
that a
she's like,
lot.
where she was like, I guess this is what happens when you grow up. You just feel less joy, which is like that line right there proved it to me that this is a movie that is being aimed at like adults. Like it's meant for those people that didn't figure themselves out in high school or they don't have life figured out and they're freaking out. Basically, you hit the nail on the head as we were leaving this movie. This movie
Yeah.
is meant for liberal white women. That's what it's meant for.
Well, I was more talking about how like those people who just claim anxiety every time anything like slightly, abrasive to them happens, and they're just like, "Oh,
Yeah.
my anxiety." They just like blame everything on their anxiety.
Yeah.
And like this movie, their thing was just like, you can't let the anxiety just fucking go all the time. Like chill the
Well, that's
fuck
the
out.
other
Like, there's
yeah,
a
that's the other
place for
thing
it, and you can't just
is that
rag on it and depend on it the whole time.
those people that blame their anxiety for everything really piss me off, not just because of what they're doing, but it's more just the fact that there are actual people who actually legitimately struggle with anxiety. Like, there are people that legitimately have regular, like, anxiety and panic attacks. Like, that's an actual thing, and what they're doing is they make it so, if they just cry anxiety every single time
Well,
that
they
something goes
act.
wrong, those
Well, they
people
act
that
like
have actual anxiety
yeah.
are pushed to the side. They're being told, "Oh, like the snowflakes are making it harder for the ones that are actually struggling."
Well, that's the thing is that anxiety is an emotion. It's not a
Yeah.
medical symptom of anything. So people say I have
Yeah.
anxiety. So does everyone else. It came free with your fucking brain.
Yeah. There's the thing, it was like, what is it? I was like, you're supposed there's this dude I heard, and one time he said, you're supposed to have anxiety. You're supposed to worry about shit. You're supposed to worry that the rent's not gonna get paid. You wanna know why? Because that's how the fucking rent gets paid.
True.
Like, it's true. Like, I will say, I think they portrayed it, this movie could have gone a lot worse than it did. This movie was not egregiously bad. This movie is probably not going to end up, it'll either just barely make it or won't make it onto my bottom 10 for the year because it wasn't egregiously bad. It was
I'll tell
just
you what,
not
if
our stuff.
if the first movie didn't exist and this had to stand on its own 2 feet, it would have flopped.
Oh, it would have. Like, it's definitely banking on the fact that it has a previous movie.
Right.
Like,
And
it's standing on it.
I gotta say most of my like disenjoyment of the film came from just how like bad the jokes were, how like cringy and annoying it was. And like
Yeah.
that's why we do this. And I mean I don't want to like I'm not immune to my own or I'm not a blind to the truth here. Like yes, we are two full-grown men going to a movie made for kids.
Yeah.
But like we're also two full-grown men who will have kids in the future, and
Yeah.
like because I have a baby nephew now, I have a like little cousin who's like 3 years old. Like I want to know what the state of kids movies is before I start taking them to any, you know what I mean?
Yeah. That's the other thing about this is that this movie, while it very easily could have done I don't think it really. Yeah, but it's more just the fact that it didn't. This movie could have pushed agendas a lot harder, and it's what
Yeah,
I
no,
was worried
it
about.
just pushed the cringe It just pushed the bad jokes. Like, oh my god, all the fucking puns in this movie. I was about ready to hang myself.
Yeah, the puns were bad and everything, but like I would let my girlfriend's daughter watch this. Like I
Yeah,
would. I don't see an issue with letting her watch it. There isn't much
you wouldn't.
problem with it. Uh I've also heard from a lot of people that the other thing about this movie that makes it super obvious that it's targeted towards like keep like it's targeted towards people our age who haven't got stuff figured out. It's basically like millennials, pretty much. Well, I guess we're not millennials, but you know what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
was the fact that nostalgia showed up.
Oh yeah.
Like, and they were like, oh no, you got like another like 10 years before you could show up. And like you got like several years of school and like 3 graduation parties and all that crap before you could show up. Nostalgia.
Yeah.
And it's like, really? That's you can be nostalgic as a kid. Like you could do that. The thing you can have.
Yeah. Especially at like 13 when like you can't go on bouncy
Yeah.
houses anymore or
Well, that's the other biggest
kids
thing.
shows.
Yeah, exactly. That's the other biggest thing is that like this whole concept is flawed from the ground up solely because these emotions aren't there the whole time.
Yeah.
Like there should be more emotions than there are. I mean, they imply that there are, but then at the same time when you cut to other people's minds and stuff like that, like granted they did add in anxiety to Dad's mind because I've seen that clip
It wasn't
before.
in the movie anywhere.
It wasn't. It was in one of the end credit scenes that we didn't stick around for.
Oh,
Like one
was
of the
it?
things during the thing. Yeah, it was. Like it cuts to the dad's mind, and like his anxiety pops up for a second. But like even so, it makes it sound like they're all gonna work together, kind of thing. And I'm sitting here like, no, these four aren't really helpful emotions. They're
No, not at
not.
all.
No, anxiety, embarrassment, like boredom, maybe. I could see envy being like, I mean, that's a envy being in this movie is a wild choice, honestly,
That's a
especially for what she was
that's a
doing.
that's a deadly sin, need I might remind you.
Yeah. Like, but like I will say boredom and embarrassment, they can be helpful at times. Like being bored spurs you to do things, kind of thing. And like being embarrassed keeps you from doing like embarrassing shit.
Yeah.
Like
But I
those
mean,
two
like,
could be.
I think they kind of phoned it in.
Yeah.
Uh,
You want to move into the rankings?
yeah, sure.
All right. So moving into the rankings, I will give this movie a 4 out of 10. Like a low 4 out of 10, but a 4 out of 10.
Yeah. I'm gonna give this. I'm gonna give this like a pretty high 3. Like it was just more annoying than anything, and like none of the jokes. I think there was probably only one thing I thought was semi funny, and it was like when the cop cell or whatever he was, like his hat
Mhm.
dropped, and on the inside where it was normally have the name,
Yeah,
it just said
I,
my hat. I'm like,
I
okay,
I
that's
I laughed
kind
at
of
that. That
funny.
was funny.
But like other than that, like it was kind of a slog to sit through, even though it was only an hour and a half.
Oh yeah, this movie dragged. It really, really did. So anyway, now let's move in to The Watchers. So a 28-year-old artist gets stranded in an expansive, untouched forest in Western Ireland. Finding shelter, she unknowingly becomes trapped along 3 strangers who are stalked by mysterious creatures every night. So,
She was
This,
an artist?
yeah, well, yeah. Did you not see her sketching and stuff like that the whole time? Like she was
Barely.
drawing. She was like drawing the whole time.
Okay.
But so this was a movie that we have anticipated for a while.
Yeah, this
Uh,
was one of those movies where I stopped myself from seeing any further trailers off other than the teaser because I kind of wanted to go into this as blind as possible because for some ungodly reason I actually like M. Night Shyamalan movies.
yeah.
At least I like their premises. So I was hoping that this would be pretty good because the premise was really good.
Well, even so, this wasn't M. Night Shyamalan. This was his daughter.
Yeah, well, the Shyamalan family, so
Yeah.
it's probably gonna follow the same structure.
Mhm. Uh, but yeah, this was a really interesting concept, and I was this. So let's. I'm gonna try and be as spoiler free to talk about this for as long as we can, and then we will put a big spoiler warning up. I definitely
Yeah,
want to talk about the spoiler part of this. So, girl gets, she's going to deliver the opening premise of the movie, just real quick, is like she's delivering this bird to a zoo, and on the way there, her car breaks down in the forest, and in while she's after it breaks down, she ends up getting lost and finding these other people that are hiding out in this like
a bunker
bunker type or
with the
type
big
thing.
window in it.
Yeah, like they find it there. And every night they lock the doors and these creatures come and watch them all night. And they
Yeah,
have these
like a
rules they
TV
have to
show.
follow. Yeah, like they're the TV show. Yeah. Like and that's that's the basic premise. Like they're allowed to leave the place and walk about during the day, but at night they have to stay inside and they have to be watched by them. It's a live TV set, basically.
Yeah,
Uh, as a premise, that's really cool. Like, I
yeah,
think that was a really cool and actually genuinely terrifying thing because, like during the day, like the glass is opaque and you can see through it. Like you can
yeah.
actually see
That's
it,
not what opaque means,
but
but
translucent. Sorry, that's what I meant to say.
alright.
Uh, whatever. You can see through the glass, but at night it becomes one-way glass, which I find is really cool. And
Yeah.
they're being watched, but they can only see themselves. Like that's such a cool concept. But so one of the things, this is something I wanted to bring up watching watching the movie, sorry. Uh that thing I brought up like right away at the beginning when we were watching it. Like,
Yeah.
oh, that's cool. I was proven wrong about that, unfortunately. I thought it
Right.
was doing something really cool. So I didn't realize that until they said it. I originally thought that it was saying the point of no return, and it was saying like that was a time, like that was 108. The first one we see is 108. And so like if you hit that point, like if you go any further, like you can make it back to the bunker if you're at that point at 108. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of like timed
Oh,
intervals. You know what I mean? Like it's letting you
yeah.
know you can make it back. Like if you go further than this, make sure it's not after 108 because if it's after 108, you can't make it back. I didn't
Well,
realize.
the number specific was wrong, but like that was the thing. Like that's what the markers were for. Like this is as far as you can get before you won't make it back to the coop in time for
Oh,
sundown.
that's what it was for. Okay,
Yeah,
I guess that makes sense.
it was counting which ones they were to map them out, but so like
Yeah.
that's like if you went beyond that point, you wouldn't make it back to the bunker before sundown. So yeah, you were
Okay.
kind of right. It's just the number was for location wise rather than time.
Yeah. All right. Uh, so I thought a lot of what they did in this movie was very, very clever. Like the different obstacles they overcome, the different routes they take to overcome them. I thought they were very well done, and the lore building in this movie was very, very well done. I want to say
I have a question.
everything. What's up?
Did we watch the same movie? I
I
thought
thought it
this
was
was
well done.
I thought this was crap.
Really?
Yeah, dude.
You thought the movie was bad?
Yes. I
Oh,
well, mid is the best I could say about it. If I could have the floor for a moment here,
yeah, I guess.
they take this movie very like lightly. There's like it's like they're like walking through air through the plot. Like there's nothing to like ground me into the story. And anything that happens doesn't have any weight behind it or like emotional impact,
Mm.
you know? And then like first of all, I don't want to get into it, but like what the creatures are gets explained way too early in the movie. And then
That's fair.
they just run with like trying to explain the monsters, which like is kind of the whole draw of the movie is that there's things on the other side of the glass and you have no idea what they are. Like we went into this movie hoping that they would never show us what they are.
I couldn't
And
decide
we
whether I
wouldn't
wanted them
know.
to or not.
Yeah, like like hoping it, like at the end maybe you get a reveal or you just leave and they get nothing. But no, they give you the whole history. They give you a pretty good look at them. They give you their credit card information. They give you their home address. They give them they take a 23andMe test on them, so you get the whole family tree on the monsters. And I'm like, you're overcrowding, and then like they introduce like all the details about this entire race of watchers like super fast, so none of it has any time to like sink in or breathe or register at any level.
Hmm.
Like I thought Inside Out 2 was moving really fast, but this was like they were machine gun firing plot points and information at you, and half of it went straight through me.
Hmm. Yeah, I didn't have that. I didn't feel like it went right through me.
Or
I
over
found
my
it kind of
head is a better
fascinating.
analogy.
Yeah, I felt it kind I felt it was pretty like the way they did stuff was pretty okay. I will say one thing that the characters in this movie are extremely flat.
Yes, yes. See,
That I will say that.
I was hoping that a majority of this movie would take place inside the coop, inside like the bunker that they're in.
Yeah.
Like one plot point I imagined that I was hoping for was one of the characters like losing it mentally and thinking themselves as like the star of this show, like I'm their favorite,
Uh,
they all like me, I'm the number one here, and they all start
yeah.
turning on each other and like they're locked in this box all night and they're barely in it in the movie. Like
Yeah.
like 80% of the movie is spent outside this box.
Yeah,
And
I
it's
will
like
say
the interesting aspect is that they're in the box and they're watching them in the box.
yeah, I the other thing that was the other thing that kind of made it a little less good for me was the rules they had to follow. Like they were given rules to follow, which who knows where they even actually physically got those rules from.
Yeah, I was saying because like half of those rules sound like they were the Watchers' rules, like don't turn your back to them. It's like okay, well they said that because they want to see the performance, so don't turn your back because that's rude. They wouldn't like it. They want to see you. And then other rules was like always lock the door at night. Well, that sounds like a rule that you guys set for your own safety. So who's making these rules? How do you know
Yeah.
what happens if you turn your back? Do they get mad? How do you know what them being mad sounds like? Their applause sound like
Well,
demon cackling.
that uh like I explained away that by the fact that there was like when you would see the front of the glass, there was like scratch marks like all over the glass. So I was thinking of it like, oh, they turn like because they even show it in in the thing like yeah, she was tapping on the glass or whatever, but then as she walked away, she turned her back to it, and then they like started
Yeah.
attacking the glass. So in my mind, like that kind of explained that away for me.
Well,
It
they
was like,
started
oh
like
well,
tapping back. So
yes, and then
they
they
could have
started.
also. I interpreted that as more as their response to the tapping.
Yeah, no,
Like it's kind of
I
like you're
got.
poking the bear at that point.
Yeah, no, I got it because like because the moment she turned away from the glass, I was like, wait, she just turned her back, and now she's like facing the couch while she's sleeping, so like they can't see her,
Yeah.
and so like they started freaking out over it, and they're like, oh, just let them get a look at you, just let them look at you, stay still, let them look, kind of thing, so that way they can see her. Uh, but no, like the movie up until it actually revealed what they were because they say you said that they revealed it really early in the movie.
I did.
uh no, the movie actually just takes that long to get there, like because we were in the movie for almost over an hour before it revealed that to
Right, and it was
us.
a 2-hour movie, so halfway.
Okay, I guess, but
Speaking of which, I think now would be a good time to get into the spoiler territory because I
yeah,
have
spoiler
nothing
warning
else
on
to say about
yeah,
before they
yeah,
reveal that.
yeah, so spoiler warning right here. uh I While it is kind of disappointing that they showed what it was, I actually liked it. I liked what they chose them to be because the Fae are a thing
Um,
that aren't really used a lot in horror, and I kind of
Fairies
like
aren't
that.
used enough in horror. That's your thing, because they're
Well, it's
fairies.
well, no, so
Fairies. They have that
they
connotation
shouldn't have
to it.
called them
You
fairies.
can get that's literally what they fucking are. They call them fairies.
They
You
shouldn't have called them
go
fairies, but
I
go ahead.
don't want to hear about your the Irish folklore of them. They're these other things. They have the connotation of fairy. They're a fairy, like fucking Cosmo and Wanda out here. They're they literally on God. They could have just said they were some shape shifting monster that they've never seen, but like new creature they found when they were doing something like he was out here researching folklore and whatever, and he was doing they dug in the wrong spot when they were making the bunker and unleashed all these things. Like that would be a better explanation rather than just oh they're fairies and a
Well,
long time ago they used to be nice to us but then we got mad at them and cut their wings off or some shit and then put them in a hole in the underground, and then they had sex with the fairies and then that's what I'm like, and they throw all of that at you so fast, so fast, and like they get
I go ahead.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
no,
let you.
go,
I'm gonna let you
go.
cook for. No, I'm gonna let you cook for a
Okay.
while because
Okay,
I'm gonna
so
have my
the
thing.
the ending, if you could call it that, because they keep going on for another like 20 minutes after the fact, where they get the boat, and then the fucking stupid guy, I don't know if he was like autistic or something, or if he got hit in the head a lot as a kid, but like he knows damn well that these things can fucking shapeshift. They know damn well the guy who left 8 days ago is fucking dead because he came back as a fucking skinwalker, and he was just, and they were like, don't let him in because you know that's not him. And then he sees him right there and he's like, help me. And then he goes to help him and then he gets fucking killed. And then you get a wide shot of 1,000 naked dudes. That was nice. And then they leave in the boat and they get on the bus. And I'm like, okay, end of the movie, right? No. Because they keep going and going and going and going. It's 20 minutes probably after they get out of there. And in that portion, they rapid fire like all this like information and explanation and all this, and they try to drop the the iconic Shyamalan twist on it. That spoiler alert, mega spoiler alert here, that the old lady that was in there with them is one of the fairies, one of the watchers, but she's because they mimic, they copy you. That's their whole thing. She's a copy of the guy who built the bunker. His dead wife. He made a copy, and then he had sex with the copy, and then the old lady who was mimicking that guy's dead wife was not the fairy that he made into his dead wife, but instead the fairy that was born from him with the dead wife, who then took on the form of the dead wife when she was hiding with the thing. And then I'm like, this is like way too much. And like I only put that all together in the bathroom, and I'm like, wait, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, because you're wrong.
Well, fucking explain it to me then.
No, that was the fairy. That was the dude. That was the one that he trapped with him. Like he made that one into it. That just
No,
was the
because he
one
said
because
they
no,
said
'cause-
that that one was a daywalker because it was half human because it had
yes,
sex with the guy.
because
They were under the fucking ground
no,
for
it
100
said
years. He fucked the thing.
yeah, no. What it was that because she said
Well,
that
my
they
God,
assigned me
is
this at.
exactly my point.
She said that they assigned her name at the day of her birth. And then the other ones were mean to her or whatever because she could walk on land. So she ended up getting trapped with the original ones because they can live fucking ages, and she was trapped with them. And so that's how he was able
Well,
to capture
maybe if
her.
the movie was more fucking clear with the nonsense it was trying to throw at me, I would have picked that up.
Yeah, no, I. This is one of those ones where I am vehemently disagreeing with you.
All right, fair
I
enough.
I really liked this movie. I will say the characters were really flat and everything, but I I liked the representation of the Fae in here. Not you're angry because they used the word fairies, and I was a little
No,
angry at that too.
no, I'm angry because that's what they picked, and they literally could have made up their own thing
Well, they could have,
so that they
yes, but
operate on their own rules. And then also not, and also like Fae itself has a bad connotation because that's what the fucking psychos and lunatics keep posting fake videos of online. And like,
well,
I
yes,
saw gnomes, I saw Fae, and it's like, shut up.
yes, but the lore of the Fae, like Irish lore of the Fae, is actually kind of terrifying. The Fae are actually really like they're an interesting creature because they're smart. they're cunning. They're like a sentient monster, basically. Like they are, even though they look like they supposedly the original Fae, like they're supposed to look like people and things like that, but they're actually like their whole thing is to trap people. Like they want to keep humans. Because so they need to pass. So what this is that the Fae were tricked by humans rather than the other way around, and they were trapped underground. Which, because of that, they lost their magic. They lost the ability to fly and stuff, and they were basically weren't allowed to leave because they weren't allowed to leave their lands, which is actually a normal thing with the Fae. Is that like once their territory is established, like they can't leave their territory. They're trapped there, which is why they have to trick people into it. So back in this, I guess in this version or whatever, they originally were able to go wherever because people believed in the Fae. People invited them
They
in.
did
So they
not
had
mention belief or inviting them in anywhere in this movie. This had
Okay, I
nothing
get
to do
that.
with that.
Can I say my interpretation of the movie?
You have been.
I know, like, and I knew this was like once you started, I knew you were gonna kind of shit on my ideas and the way I
No,
thought
I'm
about the
just saying
movie.
because you said something that wasn't mentioned in the movie, and you were saying that was in the
Yeah,
movie.
it's just my way of thinking. Well, they said that that they used to protect them, they used to get along, kind of thing. That's what in that 20 minutes of bullshit that you were talking about. Like it's like that is where we get that kind of thing. Like, and I like the fact that they were reduced to just being able to change how they look, because that's a normal thing when Fae are depicted, kind of thing. They If they are separate, like if they are betrayed, they have like a really dark side, like a really ugly side, and it's I liked the use of them because it explains the plot. It explains the reasoning why this thing is here. Because originally I'm sitting here like watching the movie. I'm like, wait, why is this thing here? Is it just some random thing? What is it? And then you find out that it's that guy who made it. Like he built all of this so he could study them, and then like he ended up not it's kind of weird that he didn't let himself leave. And that's the weirdest part of it. Like he didn't just escape himself. He just he just he just killed himself basically. Like that made no sense. But I actually I cuz see I'm sitting here and I got super suspicious of everything the moment that they decided to leave the woods. Cuz I was expecting one of them to be a shapeshifter themselves. Like I was expecting that twist. That really wasn't a twist to me. But like the whole fact of, oh, she didn't realize, she just thought she was one of them. She didn't realize she was also part human. Uh was a nice like it was a nice kind of moment. I actually liked that. I don't know. It Fae and fairies and stuff like that are a type of supernatural thing that I always kind of liked. I liked the idea of it. Granted, I'm not like those fucking psychos that think they're real, but I like the folklore behind them. And I really liked seeing this interpretation of them. I liked the design of them. Like they were like when you could see them in the shadows, like because they're like scuttling and everything and all this stuff, and then all of a sudden they like stand up and they're like freakishly tall and like got distended bodies and everything. Like I thought that was
Yeah,
cool.
we really had different opinions. I thought that scene was really goofy.
Yeah, I kind of figured either you were going to be with me on this or you were going to be violently against me.
Yeah. No, I
And
think this is uh quite a stinker. So I'm interested now. I think we should move on to the rankings because I want to see how different we
yeah,
are on this.
yeah. Why don't you go ahead and start?
I'm gonna give this like a pretty low 4 because like this is kind of around. It's not as bad as Tarot, but I think Night Swim is probably better.
Mm.
'Cause
All right.
it's the M Night it's the Shyamalan curse where they have really good premises and then they drop the fucking ball so hard.
Yeah, that's I can see where you're saying on that. I'm giving this movie like a low 7. Like a very low 7. Like it's just barely a 7. I think that's what I gave it. Hold on one moment cuz it's either a higher 6 or a lower 7 that I gave it. No, it was a 6. My bad. I apologize. I did give this movie a 6. Uh but yeah, this was I actually quite enjoyed it. It was a bit slow. Like I found myself having those moments, and I remember now. That's why I didn't give it a 7. But I actually quite enjoyed I like the premise. I like that it explained its premise. I I actually found it kind of cool to see a depiction of this supernatural thing that I was kind of interested in. So yeah. You know what's funny? This is the only other movie. You know what the only other movie we've disagreed this much on is
But
Dune. Dune 2. You gave that movie like a 6 or a 7, and I gave it a 4.
well, yeah, Dune wasn't interesting, but at least it was like really competently done, and there was actually interesting things about it. I don't care about the actors, I don't care about the storyline, I don't care about the
Yeah.
fucking planet. Do you think you would rate it as high if you didn't give a fuck about the fairies?
If I didn't give a crap about it, I probably would give it like less, probably. But
Okay.
I actually quite like knowing as much as I know about the subject. I
But
actually quite enjoyed it.
I'm wondering if that has any impact on it at all.
Yeah, it definitely does.
Okay.
Like the fact of seeing something that I was interested in being up there is it definitely impacts it.
Like I genuinely think Antlers is a really good movie, but like I'm definitely kind of biased because I really like Wendigos.
Yeah, like
But
it's like that.
I honestly think even if I didn't, I think that would still be a really good movie.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
All right,
anyway,
moving on to Bad Boys, Ride or Die.
absolutely. So when their late police captain gets linked to drug cartels, wisecracking Miami cops Mike Lowry and Marcus Burnett embark on a dangerous mission to clear his name. Well,
Yeah,
bare bones plot for this movie, like pretty standard, honestly, in my opinion.
it's true.
Like pretty standard cop movie, you know. Dude gets framed for, you know, corruption or some sort of crime, and you know, who's going to figure it out? The two loose cannon cops, you know.
Well,
That's
that's the franchise.
that's the
That
franchise, yeah.
the whole franchise is about the two loose cannon cops who do kind of what the fuck ever, don't listen to the rules.
Yeah.
I think Bad Boys is a rare instance in like movie franchises because every movie is better than the last. I genuinely
Yeah.
think this is the best movie in the Bad Boys franchise.
I still haven't watched the first ones like recently. Like I watched them with my dad when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Like, I don't remember anything really about them. I just remember bad boys, bad boys. Like I remember jamming to the song and
Are
everything,
you
but
sure you
like,
weren't just watching Cops?
I'm pretty sure I wasn't just watching Cops. For one, the cops were black.
Yeah.
The cops and
Um,
cops are always
I
white.
I think um Will Smith and Martin Lawrence did a very good job bouncing back into their roles for this movie. They are quippy as fucking ever.
Oh, they're like you can tell they are still like definitely friends.
Yeah, they have that kind of like comedy and like chemistry between them that you only get with like someone you've been friends with for decades.
But yeah, because the first Bad Boys movie came out before either of us were even born.
It's true. It's true.
Like, and like now we're getting this, and like they're still on it. Like, you know what? This is the first Will Smith movie that I've seen in a while, and I remember like I haven't been the biggest fan of Will Smith in recent years. I'm gonna be honest, and it's more just because of his actions off screen, kind of thing, like the stuff with the stuff with his wife and all that. Like I
Yeah.
didn't really, like I was kind of lost a little respect for him, but this movie reminded me why I like Will Smith. This did, like, he's a great actor. He's really funny when he wants to, when he you like he's just a good
Mhm.
he's in his element when he's acting. I'm just gonna stop
Yeah.
caring about him as a person, because like I recently also
That's
started
great agree.
watching. Well, like I started watching The Fresh Prince of Bel Air,
Okay.
and like I his acting in that is actually really good. Like I can
Mhm.
see why he is who he is. Like he's a fun guy.
I want to
Uh,
bring up the
Go ahead.
obvious best aspect of this movie.
Go for it.
The fucking cinematography. The
Oh
camera
my god.
work was fucking outstanding.
So I actually want to share this with you because I'm the guy. I go behind the scenes. I like to find out shit. Uh,
Oh
I
yeah.
I really wanted to know how they did the guns, like the
Mhm.
POV gun shots
Yeah.
and everything. Uh, they built a whole ass rig
Yeah,
that you wear on your body.
I heard the behind the scenes videos and footage for this is going viral right now.
Yeah, so what it is it's basically a harness that is on their body. Like the main shot, the part where this is used is in that final scene in the warehouse where you see him
Mhm.
aiming down the thing and he's like tossing the gun and like all that stuff, and it's like he's shooting and then it like whips around and you see him and then it's like the gun again. So it's a rig that he wears on his chest, and it has this, it's almost like a steady cam rig, except
Yeah.
for the fact that it's got a camera on it that slides and swivels. Like it's got the gun right positioned right by the camera, and the gun stays locked, and he can that's why when it whips around to him, I don't know if you caught it, there's a split second where you see him take his hand off the gun and then put
Yeah.
it, and then his hand goes back on the gun. That's because that's all like shot in real time. Like that's him because he has to swivel the gun, like he has to take his hands apart to move the
Yeah.
gun back to him to have it there. So like it's this one clear like shot where he's like aiming and then it flips around and now he's holding it there. Like it was actually a really cool rig. I actually really liked that. I thought that was very ingenious. And
Yeah.
also like
I liked a lot of the like POV shots like they did like drone POVs. They in the beginning where he's at the convenience store and he like looks at his watch and you get a POV from the time face.
yeah,
They did a lot of really
like
good stuff.
yeah, the cinematography in this movie, the cinematography in all the Bad Boys movies are actually pretty good from what I understand.
Oh, but
Like the
this is next level. They haven't done anything like this.
Yeah, like Bad Boys for Life, which was the last one. Like that one, they were not doing cinematography like this and that. Like, this really is next level. You are right.
Mhm.
Like this, like the stunts they did and all like the different things they had was just really cool. I liked I also especially liked how funny my favorite running joke in this movie is all the times freaking Marcus looks at Mike and he goes, "Hey, I wasn't gonna tell you this." But and then proceeds to say the most wild shit. And I'm I even leaned over to you and I'm like, this is how Mike feels right now is how I feel every time you lean over to me and go, "Hey Isaac, I got a hypothetical for you."
Yeah, I'd do
Like,
the really stupid Irish voice and then give you a shitty hypothetical I probably uh plagiarized from Oni Plays.
yeah, like every single time you do that shit, I go, no, 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 we're not doing this.
I
Shut up.
wasn't gonna tell you this, Mike, but you were a donkey.
But you were a donkey, and I owned you.
He's like, "Did you miss your nap?"
Like it's so funny. And like it's what's even crazier is thinking about like how old they are and how like like the
Oh
Martin
yeah,
Lawrence looks like kind of looks it a bit now, like but he's still like they look really good. Like Will Smith is 55, my guy.
yeah, they're both pushing 60, and I wanted to bring this up as well. This is like a rare exception to the legacy character thing, because like a lot of movies nowadays they're trying to get in like, oh, one more movie before the actor dies, like Indiana
Yeah.
Jones, Star Wars, like all the shit like that, where they're bringing the character back but he's like way too fucking old to be doing this, to be in
Yeah.
this movie. Saw X is another one. But they still fucking got it on this. I definitely
Yeah.
think this should be the last one, but they
Oh yeah,
fucking got
they
it.
left it in a good spot. They should stop.
They kind
Like
of touched on their age like a little bit when they had like their health problems, and they kind of brought it up a couple times in the third movie. But like they're still out there doing the action shit and like doing it like competently.
well they even said like their characters in this movie are about their age.
Yeah,
Cuz like they've been partners for like they kept it
decades.
in the timeline. Cuz like they were partners for like I think they said in the last one like 24 years,
Yep.
which is the time span from the first movie to the
Killing.
to for life.
Yeah.
Like it's like 25 years between those two movies.
So if we can deviate a little
Yeah.
bit from the movie itself,
All right.
one of us has a different perspective on this movie, don't they?
Yes, yes. I actually want to know about this because I was kind of sad I wasn't able to join you guys for this trip.
Yeah.
But go
So
ahead.
me and Merrick and Taylor, we all took a trip down to Gurnee, Illinois for Six Flags, and while we were there, we stopped at the only Marcus Theater in America with a 4DX theater. And what that means is that while you're watching the movie, the seats shake, the seats vibrate, the seats spray you with water, the seats blast you with air. They put out smoke machines, and I don't think there were any examples of it. I don't think it was used in this movie at all, but they even posted that there was aromas, so they had smell-o-vision. And they had
Yeah.
lights that flashed when appropriate. This was my first time in a 4DX theater, and I'm glad it was this movie. That
Yeah.
experience alone was a 10 out of 10. I really wish we had one of those here, or at least more of them, because it wasn't just the big stuff. Like when they're driving recklessly in the cars and you're sliding all over this and that, and when the gunshots went off, the lights would flash, and when they threw out the smoke grenades, the smoke machines went off, but it was very like little things. Like they did very very minute things to really immerse you. Like the seats would sway with like the camera bob to like
Yeah.
so your head would like match almost exactly with how the camera's moving. Um
Okay.
and just little sensory things as well. Like when they're at the counter and then that guy whips out a gun, your seat bobs with it. So
Yeah.
it's like so you feel it like right over your shoulder.
Okay.
Oh, like it's such an amazing experience, and
I'm definitely gonna
I'm
have to check it out next time.
yeah, I'm kind of destroyed that I gotta wait an entire year to go see another movie that way again. But oh my god, oh that was quite the experience.
Oh. Dude, if
So
only Taylor will still be around when it comes out. So you know what movie would fucking slap to go see in that?
what?
The Crow.
That would be cool. Yeah, it comes out this month though.
Ooh, it does? Really?
Yeah,
Already?
unless
Fuck.
like it was supposed to, unless they pushed it back. Eh,
Yeah, no,
whatever.
I don't really have a whole lot of negatives to say about this movie. Like it was really funny.
Yeah,
Uh
no, I enjoyed myself both times.
like even though like they did obvious like, don't cancel me for saying it, but like they did a lot of quote unquote black humor.
Yeah. But
Like it still was pretty good.
at least it was like funny though. Like it wasn't like offensively black. Like they're not like white people suck black humor. It's just like what you think just because we're black we're stealing your clothes and it's like Marcus look at your shirt and it says purebred white boy. Like that's
I'll just get
objectively
my
funny
black closet.
no matter what color you are.
I still
And
love the fact that that joke was even better in the movie than it was in the trailer. Because in the trailer, it's just like, you think just because we black, we steal your clothes and you just see the thing. And it's like, it's made even better because in the scene itself, he's like, this is my black clothes that I picked out of my black closet. And it's like, look at your
he's like
shirt.
look at your shirt.
How'd this get
Dude,
in my black thing? It's funny.
best thing about that scene if you see the trailer you'd know. Um Will Smith's character is wearing a Reba shirt, and the redneck guys are like, "Why don't you sing us a little Reba song? Sing us your favorite Reba song. You know, if these really are your clothes." They'd start fumbling it through them because they don't know any Reba songs because
Yeah.
they're black. And Marcus goes, "What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you?" And then Will Smith's like, "No, no, 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 no. That's not a Reba song." And he goes, "That's from her mixtape."
And they
After
drive
that,
away.
they fucking got Reba McEntire to come in and do a Bad Boys cover for this movie, and that's just the
Yeah.
icing on the cake of that scene. That's
It's
fantastic.
that is really cool. I didn't even realize it was her until you pointed it out to me, and I
Yeah,
was like,
well,
"Holy shit, that actually is."
Isaac, what's your favorite Reba song? Exactly.
I
That's
can
how
think
you
of
didn't
only
know.
one. I can think of only
Bad
one.
Bad Boys cover.
No, I'm pretty sure she's got a song. Nope, that's not even her. I think
Ha,
about it
exactly.
because I thought the movie Redneck Woman, the song Redneck Woman, it was hers, but actually I don't think that is. Nope, that's Gretchen
Exactly.
Wilson.
Exactly. You don't even know. That's true. I don't know either. My favorite's the Bad Boys. The Bad Boys. Yeah.
Yeah, I know that I've heard Reba songs before. I just don't know any of them. I haven't listened to country in years.
Good. Good. All right.
But no, this was just a fun movie, and it had a lot of really nice scenes.
Yeah. All right. We
Rankings,
should move. I think we should move on into the rankings then. Uh, I'm
absolutely.
gonna I'm gonna step up first, and I'm just gonna loud and proud. I'm gonna give this a nice 8 out of 10. I thought this was a super nice, super enjoyable movie. Uh, it's a it's a breath of fresh air seeing something with the action this competent and the comedy actually good coming out from like a summer blockbuster in a years where a lot of the big movies have not been doing so well.
Hmm.
So I thought this was a really really good movie at a really good time of the year.
Yeah, absolutely. I am also right along with you. I am also giving this movie an 8 out of 10. This movie, in my opinion, is like right up there with Fall Guy. Like
Yeah.
like this is like it's just nice to see action movies that have action, like good action and good comedy, and like it's just good. Like they didn't try doing a bunch of fancy shit. They just did good action. I know I keep saying good. It's just this is a good movie. It's a really good movie.
All right. All right. Moving on then to our last movie of the podcast, The Bikeriders. Now Isaac and I we actually saw this for the mystery movie, meaning that we get to see it on Monday when it doesn't even come out until this Friday. So as we're talking about it, it's not even available for like you couldn't go to the theater right now and buy a ticket for it yet. Like you'd have to wait till this weekend.
Yeah. This was yeah. This movie was pretty
Uh,
interesting. Here before we get any further, before we get too sidetracked, let me just read this off real quick.
Go
Our
ahead.
synopsis of the movie. So over the course of a decade, a Midwestern motorcycle club evolves from a gathering place for local outsiders to a sinister gang threatening the original group's way of life.
True.
Yeah, so I think that's actually a pretty good synopsis of the movie.
Yeah, it just gives you a little taste of what's going on here.
Yeah, first off, right off the bat, before we even get into like things I liked about the movie, like the plot and all that alone, uh fucking Austin Butler really is killing it right now. Like dude is on fire.
It's true. Yeah,
I
he
don't
was
think
really
he's had
good.
a whiff in a while.
Austin Butler was amazing in this movie. Tom Hardy was fantastic in this movie. I
Oh
think
yeah.
I think just all the roles, everyone nailed their fucking job.
Yeah. It's kind of nice to see him come so far from the original movie I know him from.
Yeah. There's
You know what movie that is?
no. Dune?
Aliens in the Attic.
Oh god.
He was in that
There you
movie.
go.
He was one of the teenagers in that movie. But yeah, no, dude's killing it. And also I have to give Tom Hardy so much credit because that man can do fucking any accent.
Yeah, his accent in this movie, we've been like having so much fun with it. That line in the trailer where he goes, "They're scared of us." Like we've been like saying that nonstop since we've seen it.
Yeah.
That kind of Chicago, you know. But he's got it pitched up real here. It's kind of nasally. That Chicago. They're scared of us. And like it's crazy that he's managed to keep that accent like so fucking consistent the whole movie.
Yeah, he did. He did a really good job. Uh so the story itself, like it's based off a book, right?
Yeah. Based off a book, based off of real events. So yeah.
Yeah. It was very interesting. Uh Sorry, just give me a moment. I'm actually answering a text. I
Right.
apologize.
How dare you? All right, I'll lead.
Yeah, go ahead.
So right off the bat, I think this one of the strong points of this movie, not besides the acting, everyone's fucking acting was amazing. One of the like highlights of the movie was the violence. I think the violence was done exceptionally well because like you see dudes get hit over the back of the head with shovels. and then that they use that shovel to almost like split their foot in half, like they drive it straight down into their foot, and it's so like abrupt, like the thing with the foot when they drove the shovel straight down into it, you heard it crack, you saw the foot like bend at an unnatural angle, and then it just cut to
Oh
the next
yeah,
scene. So
dude. That
they
this
literally just it's like the jump scare of action.
this movie has one of the best cold opens I have ever seen
Mm-hmm.
to a movie. Like
Yeah,
that fucking freeze frame. Like he's about to get hit in the head with a shovel, and like they freeze frame it when like just before contact. So you see it literally just about to hit him, and he's still smiling at what he had done to the other guy.
yeah,
Like that is such a awesome opening thing. Like it's so good.
yeah.
Uh this movie, I will say, uh because I have a lot more positive to say than the negative on this movie, so I just want to get a little bit of the negative out of the way first.
Go ahead.
Uh this movie drags a bit.
Yeah,
It takes a while. I didn't know that this was going to be based on real events, and so I didn't realize it was a biopic more than anything, really.
yeah,
And so when I went into it, I was expecting, gang violence, rapid escalation. No, don't get me wrong. This movie had my heart in my freaking heart in my throat a lot. Like I was on the edge of my seat on several scenes of this movie.
hmm
But it it kind of drags. It takes a while to pick up. And like again, if I would have known it was a biopic, I would have been prepared for that. But in
right.
this case, it was just more I just kind of felt it, you know?
Yeah, because when it comes to like biopics or like based off of true stories or true people, you kind of can't structure it like a movie because it's like this is just what happened. So it's like event, and then this event, and then this event, and then this event. It's just like a series of events. It's not like a overarching, plot, rising action, falling action. Like it's hard to squeeze real events into that formula. So it does suffer from that a little bit. But I think like again the action, I think the acting, the everything about it is well from more than makes up for that.
Yeah, it really does. Sorry, I'm moving ahead. Uh, the the action and while it is slow, the pacing is done well.
Yeah, it's paced pretty well.
Like it really is like you get to see the natural progression of things. I like how this whole thing starts. Like the linchpin of this was just that Johnny was kind of bored and he was watching Marlon Brando pretend like be like acting in a motorcycle gang, like a
Yeah,
motorcycle club, and he was just like kind of adopted that. And
yeah,
it was interesting.
and
It was also kind of cool how the narrator of the movie as well like is Austin Butler character's Benny's like wife telling the story years after it happened.
yeah.
Like so, and she's got that kind of what is this? Uh, it's Midwestern, but like what exactly? Where were like
Probably
it's Illinois,
Chicago.
right? That's
Yeah,
what they
it's like
said. It was
Chicago
Chicago.
accent. Yeah,
Yeah,
they were the
like
Chicago Vandals.
okay, yeah. Like it has that kind of city accent vibe, you know.
Yeah,
Like, so it's kind of the whole story, and it's kind of a harrowing story, honestly. It gets pretty dark at times.
yeah. It's a
And
rough watch at certain points, definitely.
yeah,
But
one of those scenes, is, I mean, you might as well do spoilers here right
yeah,
away because, like, a
go
lot of
ahead.
this movie is going into details about the movie.
Yeah,
The scene that had me, like, really stressed out more than anything was, like, after the gang starts expanding, they're all hanging out at this house or whatever. I don't know whose house it is, but it's some house. And like so much happens in a short time period. Cause like these guys are all hanging out and like they see a girl in a red dress. And they're all like, yeah, it's a nice dress. And then they look at Kathy and they're like, bet you'd look pretty in that dress. But uh like they at one point they give Kathy the red dress that the girl was wearing. And they're like, she went upstairs, she ain't using it no more. And they gave it to her. And after Benny leaves, these like bikers like grab her and like try to drag her upstairs. And like that whole
Yeah.
scene, my heart is in my throat watching that.
Yeah, it's pretty intense.
Like
I
I'm
mean,
sitting here
nothing
like,
happens, thankfully,
yeah,
but
yeah, like Johnny steps in and he stops it, kind of thing. But like, because he's like, and the guy's like acting like he did nothing wrong because he's like, we were told the girl in the red dress is ready to go, kind of thing. And it's like, oh, geez. And like, it just kind of like there's a line that Johnny says where he says, because he keeps trying to recruit Benny to the club, and at one point,
already in the club. He wants Benny
sorry,
to lead the club so he can
he
step
wants Benny
down.
to lead the club. Yes, yeah. But he wants Benny to lead the club because he's like, I can't control these guys no more. They need someone, like you, who doesn't have, they got like, because Benny's got like that freedom about him and everything, and they need someone to get behind like you. And once he can't, once he realizes that, like, he's doing that because he realizes that he really can't control them. And there's a moment where he has a line where he says, how did it go? It's like, you ever put so much of yourself into something that but it's still just gonna do what it's gonna do, kind of thing. I can't
I
remember the
butchered
exact
that, but
line.
it's
Is that
it's
I
it's
did? Yeah,
along those lines.
yeah. Sorry. If you can say it better, then please do, because I don't want to.
It's like you ever put yourself so much into something, but then it turns and takes on a life of its own, and you can't control it anymore.
Yeah.
And you were
Yeah, that's
talking
the
about this
general
after the
gist.
movie that like that's just the price of creating something and putting it out into the world.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Like, cause Johnny, this all started because Johnny let the club expand outside of the town.
Yeah.
He said he let people start opening up chapters in other towns and stuff like that. And then like all these new people came in, and they had their idea of what a motorcycle gang is.
And they started doing like some
Yeah,
violence and crime and like major bad stuff, and then it was just spiraling out of control. And
yeah,
then I really really liked how they ended it.
yeah. This movie had a really
Not the
good
club, the
ending.
movie. But
Yeah,
again, ultimate spoiler alert here. So about to ruin the ending for you, so skip ahead now if you can. Um so the new kid, the younger kid who's way pushing the violence and crime bits, wants to challenge Johnny to be the new leader of the Vandals. And they agree to a time and a place. And Johnny shows up and he's got a knife in his hand, he's got brass knuckles on his fist. And he walks up, get ready to do this, and the kid just pulls out a gun and fucking shoots him dead in the chest. Completely, you know, throwing out the rules of this duel that they had for who was gonna be in charge. It just opts to fucking kill him on the spot.
yeah. Like that went so hard.
Yeah. And then the two guys that like were there with Johnny, they're just like, "What do we do?" And there's like nothing we can do. And they stayed with the gang as it took this dark turn on from there. And Benny went back to his wife, and they moved to Florida, far away from this. And you know?
Yeah, it just had kind of a nice night, and it was kind of cool because like she's sitting there saying like, I don't think Benny misses it. I don't think he
Oh yeah,
misses riding a bike anymore. And
you
it kind
do.
of says out. Yeah, it kind of fades out, and there's like a moment where he kind of spaces out. Now, at first, I thought like he kind of spaces out, and all of a sudden you start hearing motorcycles and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And like at first, I thought that was oh shit, they found him. And then I
No, I
realized like, and it just ended, and I'm like, oh no, he's just reminiscing, kind of thing. And
yeah,
like,
he's just thinking about riding because he does miss it, but he grew up like he realized what's really important, what you gotta sacrifice at your own happiness and expense to you know put your family first before that.
yeah, it's this is just a really cool like this movie had really cool characters in it as well. Like the character that Austin Butler played, Benny, uh, who we've been talking about. Like the whole thing of he doesn't cry, he doesn't show emotion, he doesn't have anything like that. And then like after finding out that Johnny is dead, because he left, he was gone. I think he
He
said like
left,
a
and
year.
I don't
It
know
was
if
a
it was a
year from
year,
when he
but he
left.
was
I
but
think
he
that's what
left
she
for a
said.
bit, and he found out that when Johnny died, he went back to his wife's apartment or house or whatever, and he just sat
Yeah.
on the steps and then cried. And I was like, damn. Yeah, I get it. That would be the one thing to break him.
I can't say anything beyond it. It's just a good story.
Yeah. All right. So with that being said, I think we should move on to the rankings for this. I yet again I'm gonna give this an 8 out of 10. I can definitely see this being nominated for Oscars next year. I don't know if it'll win any, but I can definitely see it being on the list because a lot of acting and a lot of passion and talent went into this film, and you can absolutely tell.
Yeah, absolutely you can. Me, however, I'm giving this movie a like just a very high 7. Like it almost, if it wasn't for the fact that the movie dragged
Yeah,
for me, like the experience I had while watching the movie, like in retrospect, I understand why, but like with the experience I had actually watching the movie, I think it just brings it down enough where it's just below that 8 threshold.
true.
Like
I
it
think
was.
it's
Go ahead.
sorry. I think it's really interesting seeing this early in the mystery movies because we get to watch it and get our opinions in before it hits. So like we before like all the reviews come out, before like the box office numbers even start up, because we don't know if this is just gonna be brushed under the rug or if this is gonna be like the hit movie of the summer.
Yeah, like there's if this movie is not at the very least nominated for any Oscars this year, it's a crime.
Yeah, we don't know how the populace is gonna react to this movie. Like we don't
Yeah.
know if how big it's gonna be or if people are gonna like it or hate it or what
I mean,
kind
they've
of
been hyping the shit out of this movie for more than a year.
they have. I mean, well, that's partially because they pushed it back
Oh,
to
fair.
they were gonna show it. It was gonna be Christmas last year, but they pushed it back to this summer. So it's been in limbo for a little bit. But I'm interested to see how it's gonna take.
Yeah.
All right, that should wrap it up for the review section. Isaac, would you like to give us a brief summary of what the we could be looking at next time?
Absolutely. Let me just pull up my notes here. So next time we should be seeing a Quiet Place, day 1. We should have the first chapter of the Horizon Saga and the Exorcism.
Cool. Sounds like a pretty
Well,
decent lineup, actually.
yeah, it actually does seem pretty good.
All right. Well, Guys, be sure to subscribe. Like we said before, we're trying to hit 500 subscribers so we can apply for monetization. Check out our letterboxd at Cinema Kellan and Regular Isaac. And until next time, guys, that's a wrap. Roll credits.